Right, we are live. Hey guys, how's it going? Welcome back to the Kiwi Lads channel. We are back for another game of the URC. Benetton taking on the Stormers. Both of these sides doing very well throughout the early stages of the competition, but now is a very important game to win. Already we have seen a couple close games for South African sides in this URC round. Looking at the table, it is extremely close. The Bulls sitting at the top of the bunch on the 15 points. Ulster in second, Connacht, Munster, a lot of Irish sides in the top four, but Leinster actually the team that find themselves in 7th at the moment. Benetton in 9th. At the moment, the Stormers in 5th. Both on the 10 points, a lot on the line for this contest. Looking through at the starting lineups for Benetton, I think that the big player that sticks out is Malakai Fekitoa, signing from Munster, and now he's got that big opportunity on the outside alongside Zanon in the midfield. He'll be an aggressive ball runner, but on his outside, Odogwu out on that left wing, he has certainly got a lot of impact that he can offer. Michel Lamaro in the midfield or in the loose forward trio alongside Kanoni as well as Sebastian Negri. Then, in the other side of things, for the Stormers, a very dangerous side, although last week just didn't quite put it together up against the Glasgow Warriors. They were defeated in what ended up being a very close game, but Alistair Vermaak in the front row alongside Skara Intabini and Johan Nedling Fouché. Now, he was actually captain in the last game, but you wouldn't have thought it. We didn't really see a huge amount of captaincy by him, I guess you could say. Not a lot of standing up, showing what his side can do. This backline is dangerous. I feel like there's a few names that are familiar for a few people. Definitely Cornel Skorsen out on that right wing. I feel like he is one of those players that we haven't seen in a little while in a South African team kit, but it is great to see him now getting the chance. Warwick Kalant and number 15 and Lilian Zas out on the left wing as well. But they are just about to get underway, ladies and gentlemen, for this contest. We will go like this and like this. It looks like it is actually a very nice afternoon for this game, which is ideal. We want to see some free flow and running rugby. We have got the I'm not missing this live feed. Hi all and Hamish, says Robert in the chat. Welcome in, mate. Hope you are doing extremely well. And we have got Ryan in there, has said hi. So yeah, I hope you are doing well as well, Ryan. Currently, round 4 of the URC. They are just showing this Italian lineup for the Benetton side. They've got a few internationals in there, though, that can add a real impact. I'll be honest, Benetton on paper look like a very strong side. And I feel like the Stormers outfit, they've made some good changes compared to what they did have in that last game up against Glasgow. And I think it's really going to benefit them for the way that they're able to play. Looking through at their previous fixtures, for the Stormers, their first game was a South African derby, winning at 35 points to 33 over the Lions. Their next game up against Scarlets, 52 points to 7. And then that game up against Glasgow, like I mentioned, it was relatively close. They had moments in those final about 10 minutes or so to be able to possibly score their first and only try of the game, but they just weren't clinical enough, the Stormers, which is a rarity. Definitely because up until, I believe, the playoff games of last year's URC, they were undefeated throughout 2022-2023 season. So they would have been disappointed with it. They've made some good changes here. I want to see a lot more of Herschel Yankees because I feel like we didn't really get to see the best of him in the last contest. And Ivan Ruiz needs to sort out his discipline because he is probably one of the main factors of why the momentum went downhill for the Stormers in the second half of their last game. For Benetton, they have got themselves the win over Cardiff so far. They had that draw with Munster, which overall is absolutely huge for this Benetton side, who are just making leaps and bounds towards being a top contender in this URC competition. They had their game up against the Lions last week, managing to pull off the victory, 15 points to 10 in a close fixture. They will be wanting to do nothing less in this game at home, and to be able to beat the Stormers, a side that have got a URC title in that 2022 season, be absolutely massive for them. Let's go the Stormers, says Ryan. And there as well. But yeah, I hope you guys are all doing well. I hope you have been enjoying the URC this weekend. I mentioned we have seen 2 South African sides in action, relatively close games across the board. We did see the Sharks, of course, defeated by Zebra, which was an absolutely massive upset for this round of the URC. And then we also saw the hard-fought victory for the Bulls when they were able to beat the Cardiff Blues. Craig Evans actually going to be in charge of this matchup. Looking forward to it. This is actually our first URC game that we have covered of the weekend, so I'm glad that it is back. We are going to have a lot more coming up in the near future, ladies and gents. Unfortunately, the games this morning did overlap with cricket, so that is why we weren't able to do it. And I should mention actually playing cricket rather than commentating cricket, which might be why I sound a little bit rough at the moment. I think I've done some real damage to some abdominal muscles, which is why I'm trying my best not to move anything from about here down, because when I tried to sit down before, it hurt pretty bad, I'll be honest. But we're going to stay relatively still and hope for the best. It's about to be kicked off, though, by Thomas Albanoz to get us underway for Benetton's game here up against the Stormers. Now they're at home, and we've mentioned how important home field advantage has been throughout this URC season thus far. Nicely taken just inside of the 22 by Lillian Zuss. And the Stormers are in position, wearing their away kit, the black, the white strips. And the Sharks is a real disappointment of the South African teams, says Morley Grange. Well, I think the problem with the Sharks at the moment is they've got so many international players in their side. And when all those international players are away, they seem to struggle to find their chemistry. And when they bring them all back at the same time, that seems to kind of disrupt the chemistry that they have amongst the side that they've been working on. So I think it's just almost a case of too much of a good thing for the Sharks. An evening all Stormers to redeem themselves after last week's shortfall. Messi or Ronaldo, says Ryan. I feel like that's a little bit similar in terms of rugby with Beauden Barrett or Richie Mo'unga. They both have very different styles of play, so it just kind of depends on what type of play style you prefer watching for whether you pick Messi or Ronaldo. But now going off to this left-hand side, currently in position is Thomas Albanoz. So I've got quite a few Italian players, but a few Argentines scattered in there throughout. Dogwu, good carry forward from him. Now charging towards the line, it is Simeone Ferrari. He got himself some minutes in this recent Rugby World Cup, trying to spin it out of that one's Canoni. This is good phase play at the moment for Benetton, and I have to say they have definitely improved over the last maybe 2 or 3 years. We've seen huge leaps and bounds. I feel like Zebre are the same though. They're another side that have had so many close games that, to be honest, the Sharks, they were not the first side that could have been defeated by Zebre over the last 24 months or so. Like, there have been a lot of sides that have been close to losing. They had a game that was only 1 point difference up against Leinster, I believe, last year. Rowan has said hi in the chat as well. Welcome in, mate. Hope you are doing extremely well. Hope you've been enjoying the URC. I should mention there is another game a little bit later on tonight. The Scarlets, they will be taking on the Lions, currently in position, though. The Stormers just out from their 40-metre line, and it's kicked in behind. Nicely claimed at the back here. Looking to put the kick forward was Reno Smith. Now kick downfield from Dan Duplessis. Gets a good bit of distance on it. Pulls up just inside of the 5-metre line for Benetton, who now look for the touchline. Got a few metres on it. Maybe not quite as many as he would have liked. About 31 metres out now. Stormers' first line out of the day. Currently 3 minutes into the contest, and we will have our first line out with Scudder into Benny, the man in charge of the throws today. Of course, as soon as Dion Faurie is back, whether or not he takes a role as a hooker in the Stormers outfit, or whether they put him straight back to that loose forward trio where he was so effective last year, jackling the ball well, actually having the second most turnovers out of any South African player. The leader was Mako Afan Staden. I'm currently eating watermelon, says Ryan. Watermelon went through a patch here in New Zealand where it was like $50 for one. And I don't actually know what the price of watermelon is now, but hopefully it's not that. So hopefully you're enjoying your watermelon. Ryan, are you a eat the seeds kind of guy or a spit the seeds out? That sounds dodgy, but it's not meant to. We're talking fruit, ladies and gents. Now Scudder into Benny. We've already got an HIA by the sounds of it. Did you know that John Plumtree is coaching the Sharks? And he is, of course, a Kiwi. Says Mono Grange. I didn't know that. Yeah, he's got his hands full, I'd have to say, with the Sharks in terms of what they need to do to improve. Of course, having this loss to Zebre is not going to help them in terms of confidence. It looks like it's actually Simeone Ferrari. Is it? Who has to go off the field? He looks very confused at why he has to go off for an HIA. So you'd have to assume that he is actually all there currently. Just looking for the hit of who it actually is who needs to go in for the HIA because they're showing that breakdown and there is no Simeone Ferrari. There we go. Different angle there. Yeah, it's not him who's taken a head knock. So they are just checking. Looks like everything's all right. And now Scudder into Benny with the first throw. 3 minutes into this contest. Nicely claimed at the front by Ruben van Heeren. Now going Dan Duplessis. Good attack and run here from Ruan. Now actually playing at number 12 rather than 13, which I believe is his preferred position on the outside centre. Now Herschel Yankees going across to this left-hand side. Big chance for Marcel Tennyson in the starting lineup. Like I mentioned, Dion Forêt is not playing because of course, winning a Rugby World Cup gets you a few days off. Kicked him behind from Benetton when they have been able to steal this ball. Letting in Zas backtracking. Getting it across to Warwick Hallant. Down towards the 22. Claimed by Oreno Smith. Charging this one back up to 40 metres out from his line. Going for the chip in behind. It doesn't sit up for him and instead claimed by the Stormers who have now got the counter-attacking opportunity. In off his feet there for Benetton. Should have possibly been a penalty against. I think that was Malachi Fekitoa who dove into the breakdown. Probably lucky not to get penalised, but instead it will actually be a knock-on against the Stormers. But nice bit of work from Herschel Yankees. And I don't think we're going to get to actually see this breakdown. And Malachi Fekitoa joined by Ruan. Now a little bit sloppy with the handling there, just allowing Benetton to strip the ball off him. And our first throw for Giacomo Nicotera. Benetton, the benefit that they have got, other than the fact that that was not a straight line out, I was about to say the benefit that they've got is a lot of their players are a part of that Italian international team. So they can at least use that as their base of we've got some chemistry, we've probably got the same calls in that regard for them, but currently not quite working for their first line out of this matchup. 4.5 minutes in, we have got the first scrum now of the contest, 2 big front rows. Scudder into Benny, just having a bit of a chat with Nicotera, working out where they can sit and correct. If I'm wrong, did you wear your hat this morning? You actually look quite actually cool, that hat. Says Monitor Grange. I did have my Waimati cap on, which is my cricket cap. I'm not sure where I put it now, though. It doesn't seem to be on the desk, so I must have moved it onto the chair. But yeah, did have the hat on. Have had a shower since then, so that is why I've got the hair back out, because before that with hat hair, it was not sitting down. I pretty much had a mohawk. Another scrum reset. Should be relatively even, I think, at scrum time, although there is a chance that if the Stormers find their momentum early, they will start to use that to their advantage, get a few more extra penalties or advantages at scrum time. They want to build a big foundation and a strong foundation with the forwards that they have selected, making a few changes from last week, knowing that it wasn't quite working the way that they needed it to, but the scrum is solid, doesn't really move too much. So Herschel Yankees goes across now to Dan Duplessis, who looks to go for that kick in behind. Well covered by Benetton, or is it almost a chance there for Skosen? I think that's actually going to be a line out, I want to say for Benetton, but it was very close to a Stormers line out there. Only 5 metres out from their own line now. A lot of pressure coming in on Benetton to get this one right. And Giacomo Nicotera to throw this one in. Is it on the new chair? Says Robert. It is not. I still have to put that together. The box is there and it's a very intimidating box. But I'm going to get it hopefully sorted this week. You've actually reminded me because I forgot that it was sitting where it was, Robert. The only problem I've got at the moment with chairs is from Cricket Today. I said it earlier on. I think I've done some real damage to something in my abdominal region. I think it was a muscle or something when I dove. I kind of went to dive on dry grass and just didn't slide. So I kind of just ripped down the front and now I can hardly move. So that is why luckily I'm on this chair. I don't think I'll be able to get up in 2 hours because the longer I sit, the worse it's going to get. But she'll be right. Keeping it still. A long time since I tuned in, mate. How are you, says Danston? Doing very well, mate. Hope you are doing extremely well. Also, we have got, can the Stormers win? I believe that they can. But it's whether or not they get it right. in the early stages of this game, because late in the game up against Glasgow, they left themselves too much to do in too little time. But if they can get a strong start here, couple tries in the first half. Oh, it's another not straight throw, though, from Scudder into Benny. That is not going to help the cause. In fact, it's going to be, sorry, not for not straight, but actually for too many men in the line-out, I think that was. Or someone was in the wrong place. I believe it was Johan Niddling for Share. It's the last free kick that you want to be given away when you've got that pressure just outside of your opposition 22. Doing all right, mate. Thank you, says Danson. So that's good news. Because we have got the URC 5 back up now. Sevens. We've got Oceania Sevens taking place tomorrow. Then the World Sevens Circuit's coming back. Super Rugby and the Six Nations just around the corner in February. It's a good kick from Warakalant. He's asking for a few extra metres, so is Dan Duplessis. But I have learnt one thing in my time watching rugby. If you ask the touch judge for extra metres, he will not give them to you. If anything, he'll take a couple steps back the other way. Now, Giacomo Nicotera to throw this one in, nicely claimed by Canoni. Now looking to fire this one off to the side. Garbisi gets the pass slightly in behind the first receiver there. Bit of extra pressure coming in. Thomas Albanoz doing well to be able to regather. Now it's Nicholas Canoni. Or Lorenzo Canoni, I should say, rather than Nicholas. Rolling it back. Alejandro Garbisi puts it high. This one's close to the touchline, but it's actually claimed nicely by Benetton. The ball does end up in touch, though. Lorenzo Canoni just running out of space on that side and not quite able to make the most of the opportunity. In fact, I don't even think he got the hand to it. I think by then, Mendy was already in touch. I have to say, throughout the first 7 or 8 minutes of this game, like, you wouldn't think Benetton were the side that they were a couple of years ago. Like, overall, their scores have got a lot closer, which is fantastic for them. You must get softly the chair. It's much more comfy. Get a chair that turns a 360. Says Mona Lagrange. We are working on it at this stage. We've got a gaming chair that we do have to set up. But yeah, we're also looking at maybe a standing desk, which might be quite a nice option. Good kick downfield from Warwick Harant there. Just inside of this 22. Who are the favourites, says Tar? That is actually a very good question. I know that the Stormers are favourites. It's just more of the question of by how much. But currently, like I said, I don't think that Benetton have played a bad game of rugby for this first 10 minutes. If anything, you could almost argue that they have looked, to a certain extent, the stronger side. Now, going back aside. The knock-on and the tackle there from the Stormers, so they'll go back for scrum time once more. So currently, my apologies, Benetton are favourites, ladies and gentlemen. $1.75 compared to the Stormers $2.05. That is actually, that's huge. Fair play. And I guess that just shows you the amount of progression that Benetton have made and the squad that they've got. Like, they look the real deal this year. And the Stormers, don't get me wrong, they're going to be somewhere in that top 4 or at least somewhere in that top 8 when we come to those quarterfinals. It's just that big question of whether or not they'll have home games or an away game for those important playoff games. And we've seen in this URC competition how important home field advantage is. We saw Zebre get themselves a win over the Sharks due to home field advantage. Benetton getting a win over the Stormers here would be massive for their confidence. But, of course, these Northern Hemisphere sides still have to head down to South Africa, and that can be a whole different beast to try and conquer as well. And Stormers are the favourites because I favour them, says Bruce there. Fair point. Now, it's a little kick attempt there from Benetton, not quite for that option. And now Warakalant once again will look for the clearing kick. He is unable to put this one out on the full. And in fact, it's going to stay in the field of play. Lillian Zas knocks it on. Odogwu has to work hard. I don't know why they're still playing on. They want to check this one. There's a chance that Ben Loader has scored, but the only chance that he has scored is if for some reason they've turned knock-ons off, because there was a massive one about 25 metres out from the line. Looks like there might be some sort of injury to one of the Benetton players. Yeah, there it is, Lillian Zas. Just getting that hand to it, knocking it on. And Ben Loader, he was probably one of those players who stood out massively in the last contest up against Glasgow. He was, I would say, man of the match for the Stormers for what he was able to do. In a game that was extremely difficult, he still had his moments where it looked like he was the real deal and he was going to be able to score himself possible try or two. Now, he wasn't able to. This game could be his chance. 12 minutes in, already flying by at the moment for this contest. Scrum feed is in favour of Benetton, 25 metres out from their try line. It'll be Garabisi to feed the ball in. You can tell that he is the brother of Paolo Garabisi just by looking at him. Very similar facial structures, those two boys. Who does Garabisi play for, though? Paolo Garabisi. Is he also in Benetton's lineup, or is he in a different club? I want to say he's in France for some reason, but I could be wrong there. Now going off to the left-hand side, Canoni gets it off to Niccolo Canoni, so both Canonis working together. Now rolling this ball back, Garabisi. 13 minutes in. The big box kick down towards the Stormers' 40-metre line. What a Karat looking for the 50-22 drop ball there. They've said it's gone backwards from Rayno Smith. It's gone backwards first and then it's bounced forward. Is the call from the referee? I feel like there's not too many complaints from the crowd, mainly because it's about 95% going for Benetton in this one. What a Calant trying that 50-22. It could be something that's very useful throughout this game for both sides. Scudder into Benny, getting that one nicely into Andre Smith. A short ball to Evan Ruiz. We have good there. It seems the chat is much more quiet after the World Cup, says Molly Lagrange. It is, but at the same time as it being slower, I actually sometimes prefer this kind of pace of the chat because we are able to read every single message. And that is something that throughout the World Cup I felt really bad about. The fact that I wasn't able to acknowledge every message that was coming through just because at times they were just absolutely flying. But I do enjoy sometimes that slower paced chat just because we can actually talk about what is being mentioned and everything along those lines. I've always said it, whether we've got 5 people watching or 500, we're still going to be here, still doing these live streams. It's currently 4:18 a.m. here in New Zealand. But yeah, we had no plans of missing this game. It's nicely kicked towards the corner there from Thomas Albanos. In fact, my apologies. That is actually the kick from Dan Duplessis. Wrong fly half. It was not rolling away. So now Scudder into Benny with a great line-out opportunity here to help the Stormers perhaps score their first try of the game. And the first try of around, I think it's 95 minutes. And I absolutely agree, the World Cup was our weekly fix, says Denzel. The chat went so much faster at the World Cup, says Molly Lagrange. Very true. Now rolling Mole looking good here for the Stormers. Doesn't look like it's making a huge amount of distance towards the try line currently, but they have not given up on it. Committing an extra couple men, I believe Lillian Zas and Ruan Nell both getting in there now. Dan Duplessis decides to join. They should be told to use it very soon. It's gone down. Brilliant defence from Benetton, and they've stopped the momentum in its tracks. The Stormers turning down the 3 points, going more aggressive than they did last week, and it has not paid off on this occasion. And yes, the coziness here, says Robert, and there as well. And the sevens is the same as well. The Oceania sevens, that is. We have been covering those games on the channel, and it's been a lot of fun. Jacques Smith has said the Cheetahs in there as well. When does the Curry Cup start? That is probably a good question, isn't it? I want to say that that's in like 2 months' time. But I could be wrong. It might be a little bit early, actually. Maybe about February. Do we see the Curry Cup start? Unless it's already going. I don't actually know. They've stopped showing it here in New Zealand, which is really annoying because we used to actually cover a lot of those games on the channel, and it was a great way of learning the new South African players who make their way through into the rankings. And Cheetahs, oops, wrong game, says Jacques Smith. Now the Stormers, 5 metres out from Benetton's line. They will be defending the scrum. The referee just telling them to build a bit of a better base when it comes to scrum time, but we are 17 minutes through in this contest and we are yet to see a point scored. Now, I believe there is another game taking place at the same time as this one, or I know we've at least got overlaps later on in the day. But this stage, I believe this might be the lowest scoring game by half time. I want to say that is a bold statement though, because we've actually had some very low scoring games ticking towards that halfway mark. Now Garbisi to feed the ball in once more for Benetton. Big pressure coming from the Stormers. A little bit of wheeling, but does come out the back, and now it is cleared downfield from Smith, who only gets it down to 15 metres from his own try line. There are a few Gallagher Premiership games actually taking place at the moment, 2 of which the Bristol Bears taking on the Sale Sharks, and also the Harlequins taking on Leicester. But this game is the only one of the URC taking place at this current moment. 2 games kicking off at 6:15 AM New Zealand time, which I believe is 7:15 PM South African. In fact, that might be wrong. It might be 7:15 or 8:15, sorry, South African time. Ospreys versus Glasgow, as well as Scarlets versus Lions. And then the later game is Edinburgh versus Connacht. That will be a very good game. At the moment, both of those sides not sitting, well, I'd say not sitting too badly. Connacht are undefeated. Edinburgh is sitting in 11th, but one win could boost them right up, definitely if they can manage a comfortable win over the only undefeated side left in this competition. Although, you could make an argument saying Benetton are actually undefeated, seeing as they have not lost a game, they have won 2, drawn 1. Now another scrum, 15 metres out. Unfortunately, the line-out time has not been working for the Stormers. I should mention that last one was unsuccessful, which is why it is now a Benetton scrum in their favour. It also seems like the crowd are in their favour in the home side for this game being played in Italy. Of course, Benetton, they will be travelling all over the globe for their matches of the URC, including a few games in South Africa, which I'm sure that will be a daunting task, to say the very least. Going off to this left-hand side, good crash ball forward. I believe that was actually Marco Zanon. We haven't seen too much of Malakai Fekitoa as of yet. We saw him win a penalty earlier on. Little bit of a counter-ruck. I think that was Ivan Nema has gone down like he's been attacked. I think he took a bit of a knock on the nose. He is holding it. He does not look too happy at all here. Hopefully he is going to be all right. I think he took a knock right on the bridge. Could have a broken nose here. But it also looked very reckless from the Stormers. Here we go. He was standing there, behaving himself. Oh, yeah. That's an awkward one, Audrey Smith, who just decided to commit to the breakdown for a second time. Led a little bit too high up. Does connect with the player here. Yeah. So, Audrey Smith, unfortunately, his temper has actually hurt him there, by the looks of it. Okay, the TMO's actually said it's fine. So he said there was no other way for him to get the clean out. Now, I will mention Ivan Nema. He had a very delayed reaction when he did realise that he got knocked in the nose. He kind of did the ow, and then he went ow with the hands flailing. Okay, we were just hearing the TMO there. I think he said there is nothing wrong with it, and it is going to be the scrum. He's just asking the question there, Nama. He said, I've just taken a knock. Me nose is sideways. Do I not get a penalty? We have got there Mumry versus Delicious RFC as on 2. Says Robert Vale. Delicious RFC. I don't think I've ever heard of that side. I assume it's rugby in that case, Robert. That was a 4:25 AM yawn. We're allowed the occasional one of those, of course, with the hour of the morning, but now scrum feed for Benetton once more. This is about our 5th scrum in a row here, all being fed in by the Benetton side. About to be put in by Agarabisi. And yes, says Robert. So whereabouts are those two sides based, Robert? Are they American sides or are they somewhere else around the world? That is a big push from the Stormers at scrum time, but they've given away the penalty. Angling in. Geez, boys, do you ever sleep? I try to sometimes. I'll be honest, I haven't slept yet today. I woke up at around 9 a.m, I believe it was. So we've been up for, it's not too bad. We've been up for 19 hours. That's a stock standard weekend for us. But yeah, we will sleep at some stage, probably during the day today, when we manage to squeeze a few hours, but not too many, because then we've got the sevens once again that we are covering for the Oceania Sevens playoff games. Currently 21 minutes down in this contest, and we are yet to see a try. We are yet to even see a point scored throughout this game. So we'll be very interested to see how it goes from here, and whether Benetton can put that foot down while they have got a bit of momentum, or will it end up being instead the chance for the Stormers. Nice bit of work there from Benetton. Seller the dummy from their fullback Smith, but it bounces into touch. It's come off a Stormers player, so Benetton still do have another opportunity. Hi guys, I'm back. Says Ryan, welcome back, mate. And also, hi, says Try Time Down Under. Welcome in, Amelia. You are doing extremely well. We have got it's Amelia and there as well. I recognise the name. Yeah, hope you've been enjoying the Cricket World Cup. Of course, the Aussies have made their way through to the semis to take on South Africa. If you win that toss, you're certainly going to be batting first, I can tell you that. But New Zealand also securing their spot in the semis. Recently, I'm at work in Queenstown, so I'll be sleeping this afternoon. Says Dale. Yeah, hopefully it's not too warm for you. I know that throughout the last couple weeks, it's been harder to be able to sleep during the day here in New Zealand because we are starting to get towards that summer stage. Currently 22 metres out from the line. Benetton still on hot attack. Garbisi feeds it off. I believe that was Malakai Fekitoa, one of his first touches of the game, and he's dropped the ball. Unfortunately, that is a similar occurrence to what we saw when he was playing for Munster. Now Garbisi goes off to Ferrari. Tries to steamroll his way towards the try line, but he is tackled by Alistair Vermaak. Now good tackle made by Marcel Tennyson, slowing down this Benetton attacking play, although it is only a matter of time before we either see a turnover or a line break. Nice run forward from Marco Zanon. Ball's still there. Phases being put together here by Benetton. Malakai Fekitoa has got the penalty advantage in his favour. Now Garbisi waiting patiently for this ball to come out the back from Kanoni. Evan Ruiz and off his feet. Hasn't given away the penalty though, and channel name change. Says Try Time Down Under. And there as well, in hotel has air conditioning, so have that cranked up for sure. Says Dale, little grubber in behind for Benetton. Marco Zanon. That was a massive mistake from the Stormers' defence. They allowed the ball to roll through, and Benetton strike first in this contest, 5 points to 0. What a start they have had. And when is the Currie Cup? I am not actually too sure, unfortunately. Just mainly because they haven't really been showing it here in New Zealand for a while. So it's very hard to actually know when it is taking place, sadly. Good afternoon, Hamish. Says, please and welcome, mate. Hope you are doing extremely well. Warwick Kalant. He was going to go for this ball. He just kind of watches it, to be honest. That's the best way of describing it. He watches that ball as it rolls past him into the try area. He is onside. This might be a try. And Hamish, bro, congratulations. New Zealand steal a spot against the India side. Yeah, it's going to be a tough match, that is for sure. But New Zealand, hopefully they're up for the task. Hopefully they do all right. And that game, they are just checking the grounding once more. Oh, he might have knocked that on. I think Zanon... This one, no, they're going to take the kick anyway. TMO is happy. I saw a knock on there. And I hope we're going to see it from a different angle. But I think there might have been a bit of something in that one. But one moment, we are about to sneeze. We are good. I had a bit of help with the name change. I used ChatGPT. to help me come up with the names. Says Amelia, it is actually, it's a very handy thing. That's actually what we did, me and Tim, for the rugby recap. Fun fact. Because, yeah, there are a lot of names out there that are already, of course, taken, but yeah, try time down under rolls off the tongue quite nicely. Bless you, says Ryan. But yeah, I think there was a knock-on from Benetton in that try, I will be honest. But they play on, being able to strike first in this game up against the Stormers side that currently feel a little bit wounded. And on the US, it's Morrow says it was there from Robert. Oh, there's a knock on there from the Stormers. That was the TMO jumping in there. Okay. Interesting. This is giving me World Cup flashbacks and I'm not liking it. The amount of impact that a TMO can have on a game is way too much now. It's pretty much they can override the referee anytime they want to. For me, TMO should only be for foul play and checking to see whether or not there was a try. Obviously, the knock-on from the Stormers we have got there. Of course, I'll be doing Rebels Match Day vlogs next season. Says try time, Amelia. Did you end up, by any chance, Amelia, going to the Melbourne Victory versus Wellington Phoenix game? Just out of curiosity, because I swear I heard someone at about maybe, I think it was 85 minutes through the game or something, that sounded very similar to your voice. That was like, someone just score a goal already? Or it was something along those lines. And I was like, was that Amelia in the crowd? Except I'll be editing the videos on my phone. Says try time, down under. And also, hi, Hamish says, Tiff, welcome in. Now, Benetton have got themselves the scrum feed. Going to this left-hand side. Nope, I'm a Wanderers fan. Okay, no worries. It did sound very similar to your voice, so I thought, oh, she might be popping in for a Wellington Phoenix Melbourne Victory game. It's a good kick in behind from Benetton, and that will actually be the 50-22. Now they've got another opportunity to create more pressure. And also, I'm a Western Sydney fan in the A-League. Says try time. And their demos are getting way too into themselves now, says Flesh. And that's the thing. They don't get, I guess, any of the fallout of bad decisions that they make. Which I'm not saying that they should be, like, ridiculed or anything like that. But, like, they are now such a huge part of the international game. And you look at some of the games that take place, the best games are the ones that the TMO have hardly got involved in. Like, the referee, the balls aren't there anymore. You know, that sounds like a really weird statement. Of course, they are also the female referees, so the balls weren't there in the first place. But, like, they don't get to make decisions anymore because the TMO's too busy in the area saying, I saw this, I saw that. A man pulled that man's hair, he headbutted him. Which, if you headbutt someone, fair play. Like, you know, you should probably go to the bin for that. In other words, in your local language. Says Robert there. And what I can do is halftime during the game is I can edit the video from the first half. Says, tell you what, that is efficient, isn't it? Getting the editing done at halftime. Very impressive. Nicely claimed by Benetton, who are 22 metres out from their try line. And also, we got there, Ryan annoyed. And there, good on you. Said Ryan there earlier on. But the Stormers now back in possession once more. 40 metres out from the line. I would love to see them score in this first half, just to give them some confidence. They haven't actually scored a try now in over 100 minutes in this URC competition. We are talking about a side that was undefeated for a long time in the URC and also almost had an undefeated season with the exception of the defeat in the final. Nice cross kick there, though. Claimed by Ben Loader. I believe there was a knock on, so they will go back for the original penalty. Now, the Stormers have already turned down 3 points. This is their opportunity to take the 3 if they want it, but I think Herschel Yankees wants to go for the corner here. But this is 25 metres out. This is, if there was ever a freebie to get 3 points, it is right now for the Stormers. And of course, they will want to make sure that that kick does go over. But yeah, they don't get too much easier. Yeah, I've been studying all day, says Tiff. Hey, I get as much as I can done during halftime. Then I'm on my way home after I've got on my traditional HSP, sorry, and the drink. I can edit the video on my phone depending on storage, says Amelia there. Yeah, so I mean, as long as you're getting something done on that, it probably makes the train ride go a lot quicker as well for you. So, yeah, hopefully it goes all right, all smoothly. And yeah, I have to give them a look. I've been trying to get into the A-League again recently, as well as the BBL when it comes back around. I just want to be watching sport as much as I can. Get all your local games on internet, says Robert Vale. Yeah, there's quite a few games that are broadcast live for New Zealand Rugby. That is going to be a good driving maul here. Only a few metres out, the Stormers with Evan Ruiz. Only about 10 metres from the line now. And speaking of 10s, Dan du Plessis tries to cross kick. That is unfair. Out there on the wing. Skosson didn't quite get to it. What a Kalan did though. And the try will be awarded. The Stormers get it. Unfortunately, there's a massive mismatch when you've got Reno Smith, who I believe is about maybe 5'9", going up against Skosson, who's a 6'3" bloke. It's going to be tough. Are you doing the Lions versus the Scarlets? We are not, unfortunately, mainly because of when the 7 starts tomorrow. So we have got the Oceania 7, so that we will be covering. Well, usually on the way home from the night out, I've been scrolling through TikTok. Says it was Amelia. And also we had a resort, so I'm happy, says Ryan. Now, when I went to Moulin Rogue 2 weeks ago, I stage doored. Hopefully I've said that correctly. Biggest problem is I had an anxiety flare. So I stood there shaking. Says Amelia, so I'm sorry to hear that. Amelia? Do you do all your, travelling to the games by yourself and everything along those lines, or do you go with a group of friends to the West Sydney Wanderer games? Now, chance for du Plessis to line up this kick. Now, I've been calling him Dan du Plessis, but it's actually Jean-Luc du Plessis. Was at the Interpol last night, says Gregor Galway. Deep breath taken. An important kick for du Plessis, and he's missed away to the right-hand side. So the score will remain 7 points to 5, but it is the first try, like I mentioned, that they have scored in a long time. It is a very tough day at the office. That was close to a knock-on from Skosson, I'll be honest. I think I might have seen... Yeah, no, you could make an argument that was possibly a knock-on for Skosson as well. So I think the TMOs missed 2 knock-ons from 2 tries. I could be wrong, but yeah, interesting. The next morning I posted the pictures from Trip 3, and one of the cast members that I tagged in the story replied to me, and she said, "Thank you, darling. I'm usually by myself," says strike time down under. Nice backline there for Benetton. Was starting to open up how many teams are in the competition. So in the URC, they have got 16 teams. So there are a lot of matches that happen throughout the season. And yeah, we've got plenty more games taking place. I can actually show you the top 11 at the moment in terms of the rankings. So Edinburgh find themselves in that 11th place. Zebre actually have got themselves the 1 win this season. That was over the Sharks. As you can see, the 3 losses, but they're actually on 9 points. So they've been very close to getting victories quite often throughout the URC season. Benetton, Ospreys, Leinster in 7th. I'm sure that they will keep on progressing up the ladder as they go. Glasgow Stormers currently sitting in 5th after a great start with 2 wins back-to-back. And then alongside that, yeah, cheap shot from Skosson there. That will be a penalty in favour of Benetton, I would be thinking. And then Munster, Connacht, Ulster, 3 of the Irish sides. And then the Vodacom Bulls sitting at the top of the bunch on the 3 wins, 1 loss. Points differential looking extremely impressive, though, compared to any other side. They know how to score points, and they know how to do it with flair. We have got there every Rebels game. I was with you-know-who before I cut him out. Says Amelia, and also I'm just wondering, where is Kurt in this chat? I believe he will be extremely busy in terms of his cruise ships and whatnot. He'll be somewhere around the world in the ocean. Yeah. He does normally pop in for the Glasgow games, and I don't think I'll go to the Super Round next year, but I'll do my best to get as many games as I can bearing TAF. I'm not so sure Jean-Luc du Plessis is going to cut Blommetjies Chassar. I agree. I think Clayton Blommetjies didn't really do anything wrong last year and lost his spot for no reason. Like, yes, you had Mane Libok and Damien Valimza come back, but I honestly feel like Blommetjies, with the way he was playing, he definitely deserved that bench spot at least. And I feel like the players who step up now are the players who should get those opportunities later on in the season. And Blommetjies is normally one of those guys who does very well. The kick for 3 here for Benetton rather than going for the 7. They have got that kick straight down the middle with Thomas Almanoz. And that is now going to make the score 10 points to 5 in favour of Benetton. We have got what's up, guys. Stormers behind again. I see, says Xander. They are indeed at the moment struggling a little bit with the way that Benetton have been playing in this game. I have to say, like, Stormers, the handling's probably let them down the most, and the discipline. Those have been the 2 main talking points for the Stormers in their last 2 games. Going to be kicked off long by Duplessis. And down to 10 metres out from the line. A little bit of a juggle there from Lorenzo Cannoni. Putting himself under extra pressure, and he's actually given away the penalty in the process as well. Players leaving feet. And now the Stormers, if they want it, they can get the 3, or they can go for the corner, and they are guaranteed 5 metres out, and I think that that is the option that they are going for. They're going to be a bit more aggressive here. It also depends on my musical theatre with Sarah Brightman coming to Australia next year. I had to play Norma Desmond in Sunset Boulevard. Says that was try time down under. I don't mind Ume Zulu starting at 10, to be honest. Could be an option. Because Ruanel is at 12, isn't he? And I feel like the reason Ruanel is at 12 is because Ben Loader's doing so well at 13. So they're kind of trying to squeeze all these centres in, even though, you know, you could look at a different option at 12 for the Stormers. I know that they went with Ume Zulu last week. I see there are still videos coming on YouTube showing that either France or New Zealand should have been in the box. Getting ridiculous, says Xander. Yeah, at the end of the day, like, the World Cup has happened, hasn't it? Like, anyone who's still, I guess, dwelling on it, trying to pick little things that could have been different, like, it's happened. The Springboks are world champs. People have to deal with that for the next 4 years, and then they have to try and beat them in Australia. But that is another try here for the Stormers. Scudder into Benny off the rolling maul. Just looked a little bit too easy. What happened to Dan Duplessis? That's a great question. I assume injured, unless he's gone overseas, because, yeah, I would have thought he'd get a little bit of a chance at some point. I'll just have a quick look at their bench. They've got Paul de Vet and Clayton Blommetjies, so they've actually gone with that 6-2 split of their bench by the looks of it. We have got there in the chat, we need to get ahead before the end of the half. These are the away games we need to milk for points. And they've been able to do just that. Scudder into Benny, getting that try in the 36th minute, making the score 10-10 with a kick to come for Duplessis. And here we come, Australia in 4 years, says Ryan. And for the first time in the US, Saturday, March the 2nd, 2024, the Eagles versus the Rabbitohs and the Roosters versus the Broncos in the NRL will kick off the season, says Robert. So that's quite cool that they have decided to go to America, try and open up a new audience for them, similar to what we saw for New Zealand versus Ireland when they played in Chicago a long time ago. And then also, I believe is it in the NFL they have the game that takes place from England. That kick has missed again. Unfortunately, that is 2 in a row from Jean-Luc Duplessis. Getting that slightly wrong. Isn't Kerr a woman? Do you remember this phase? Does Kerr have a crush on you? You just laugh. Says Morning Lagrange. So, no, Kerr is not a woman. Yeah, he is a man, yeah. Hamish, what's your predictions of the semis of the World Cup? It really, like, I'll be honest, South Africa's fate depends on the toss. Because they have shown such ability when they bat first. When they bat second, it's like a whole different side is playing. And that's actually been the case for the World Cup so far. It's whoever bats first has a really good chance of winning. So, yeah, if South Africa win the toss, I'd say that they win. If Australia win the toss and bat first, I'd say that they probably take out that game. And, yeah, the first game in the UK, says Robert. And they bring, or they need to bring some NFL preseason games to Australia and New Zealand. Says try time down under. And also we can't chase it all. Says Xander there as well. But yeah, like they do very well when they bat first. which I think is why so many people, when they looked at that game between South Africa and New Zealand, went, why did New Zealand send them in when that is literally what South Africa would have wanted? Would literally give my arms to see my LA Chargers play a game in Melbourne. And also, Akil wouldn't appreciate that Morley Lagrange. Says it, not your everyday cultist there, but another penalty has been won by Benetton. I believe, with 50 seconds remaining on the clock, we will still have enough time for one last play in this first half. Currently sitting 40-40, or sorry, 10-10, I should say, after the 40 minutes. This actually hasn't been a bad half in terms of the amount of time it's taken. So in about 46 minutes or so. Oh, that kick's missed as well. No one's got their kicking boots on at the moment, it would seem. Although, to be fair to him, Thomas Albanos has kicked everything other than that one. But now the Stormers looking to go quickly. And they have done just that. They will kick the ball downfield, trying to find touch with it. They haven't been able to do so. Now drop kick attempt from deep. He's got plenty of it, and it's gone over. That is a bit of brilliance there from the fullback. Rhino Smith gets it right at the end of the first half. He took it on from 40 metres out. If he had missed that, I think his team would have been relatively angry at him. But from 40, just strikes it clean as a whistle straight down the middle. And also, many people say that Australia and India are favourites to go to the final, says Moulin Grange. It's a possibility, yeah. I know that this will sound harsh, but not like harsh. I don't mean it to sound bad. But Australia, India, I feel will be a closer final than India versus South Africa, because of the fact that we've seen Australia bat first and bat second and do decently. I just worry that if South Africa have to face India again, similar to what we saw last time, if they're batting second, they could get bowled out for around that 100, right, mate? Who wins it from here after halftime assessment, says Danston. I think it's still anyone's game. I think the Stormers are looking more aggressive when it comes to scoring tries, whereas Benetton look like they will be able to grind out those three-pointers and also maybe get that occasional line break. So I think it's still about a 50-50. Maybe a little bit of momentum in favour of Benetton, but I still think the Stormers have got it in them. And Hamish, what do you think of the talk of New Zealand and South Africa tours, including 3 club team games and 3 national games? I mean, I think that's something that's been missing from rugby a little bit, is some of the tours that we used to see. Because the British and Irish Lions tour is really the only tours that we have now, other than you get a 3-match series, but it doesn't really have that same feel to it, if that makes sense. Like the old school days, when you used to travel around the country and play some of the lower ranked sides, even if it was just your experimental team, you'd still play them just to kind of get a bit more of a gauge of where they were matching up with other teams. So yeah, I'd like to see it if it does take place. Now that's a drop, he says, Nazi Williams. Yeah, that's probably one of the best drop kicks that we have seen in recent times in terms of how cleanly he struck it. He struck it from 44 metres out or somewhere around there, and he probably could have still kicked it, I'd say another maybe 6 to 8 metres in terms of where it went over the posts. I'm about to die, it's so hot here, says Ryan. In there as well. That was a bit of a yawn, wasn't it? But we are 40 minutes through this contest, ladies and gents. A few more big games just around the corner for the URC. Sadly, we are not covering them. In this case, it's South African talent in Italy. Says it was there from Not Your Everyday Cultist. Great bit of work there from Rhino Smith. As the fullback, do you know where where Magic Damian McKenzie is heading? I believe he's still at the Chiefs, isn't he? He's decided to stick around for the chance of being able to play for the All Blacks. Or at least that was what I heard last. I think that's still the case, though. I know that the Chiefs squad was announced. They're just showing a replay of that try, and I'm still not convinced that there wasn't a knock-on from Benetton when they first scored it. We're about to see a replay here. I think he got a finger to it first. And I don't think we're going to be able to prove otherwise. A better performance than last week. Hamish's mum must have had a word with her favourite team, says Grant. Fun fact, she was actually in the lounge earlier on when I did New Zealand versus Australia, and she fell asleep on the chair. So, she's pretty tired. So, sadly, she's missing this game, Grant, which means she doesn't get to see her, of course, favourite team in action. I think he's staying to be close to first up with Mo'unga gone. Says Nazi Williams. And what about New Zealand versus South Africa in a Cricket World Cup final, just like the Rugby World Cup final? It would be pretty awesome because both of those sides are yet to walk away with a World Cup in the cricket. So, to have that opportunity of one of them being able to get the World Cup under their belt would be pretty cool. And if New Zealand win the toss, they certainly shouldn't allow the South Africans to bat. Just showing that what a Calant try is off the cross kick. And unfortunately, in this case, Smith just didn't have the height. From non-perspective, I really think Damian McKenzie is the most underused and underrated All Black in a long while. Yeah, just for some reason they don't back him. Like, I honestly feel like throughout their Rugby World Cup, if they had used him a little bit more, same with Cam Roigard, that combination worked for New Zealand. But they decided, okay, so it's worked, so we're not going to do it. We're going to try and mix it up and see whether or not something new works. But the old saying, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. McKenzie's been very strong. And yeah, it would be nice to see him get more opportunities. I think he's going to tear it up for the Chiefs this year in Super Rugby Pacific. I just hope that he stays injury-free so that he can take part in that international season for the ABs. I just imagine if there is a Proteas versus Kiwi cricket final, it would be pretty insane. I'll be honest, like it would be quite cool. And I never underestimate us Kiwis, mate. Not a large population compared to the big countries, but fight above our weight. Says Nazi. So what we're going to do while we have got the halftime, we're actually going to look up the Cricket World Cup because there was a game taking place recently, which involves Pakistan about to lose to England. That's a decent bit of work from the English. At least in that case, Pakistan losing means that they weren't going to be in the top anyway. So I feel like that will make people feel a little bit better. But the Netherlands still play India. That is taking place tomorrow. And then the first semi-final starts at 9:30 on... That's the 15th of October. No, that's a lie. 15th of November is when that is going to be taking place. And then South Africa, Australia is the day after on the Thursday. Oh, see, the thing is, those are 2 days during the week that I might be able to watch those games. I don't think we'll do the commentary for India versus New Zealand. More than likely what we'll do is I'll end up watching the game and then I would say more than likely if New Zealand do end up pulling off the upset and winning that game, we would end up doing the final. But the final is actually on the Sunday night, which shouldn't be too bad for us, I don't think. On the 19th of November. If Aussie didn't want McKenzie to be a star, says star or the star. And I also just had the same thought. I never saw your comment. Says it was there from Not Your Everyday Cultist. Yeah, it could be pretty cool if it does take place. And, you know, like, New Zealand to beat India, for one, is just, it's huge. But then, like, to go up against either Australia or South Africa in the final, like, I feel like either way, New Zealand will be pretty happy to be there. India versus New Zealand at the moment. New Zealand are $3.10 underdogs. They're not actually massively out of that game by the looks of it. In terms of the South Africa versus Australia game, South Africa come in as slight underdogs. $2.05 compared to the $1.73 of the Australians. McKenzie, one bloke, and my couch coach opinion would go well in the NRL. Says Nazi Williams. Oh, NRL. Where would you play him, Nazi, in terms of positional? Where would you go with? Number 6, maybe? Would you put him as a 6? I don't know. 9? Could go as a 9, maybe. I'm trying to think through of who I'd compare him to in terms of his build. Fullback. Actually, yeah, no, that's a very smart option. Nazi, I think I was overthinking it. Just put him at number 1. Easy enough. Are you doing the Cricket World Cup final? It might depend a little bit on who is in the Cricket World Cup final. Just because, of course, I'd want to be able to do a game that, like, we are I guess, a little bit more invested in rather than just doing a game for the sake of doing a game, if that makes sense. Because at the end of the day, like that match, when it takes place, the final is going to be like 9 or so hours long. So we've got to make sure that the two sides that are in it, we do have enough information about them to be able to talk for that long. So that's where if New Zealand made their way through, that would be ideal, of course. South Africa, maybe. South Africa versus Australia, all depends on the toss. I better not let the penny ruin our World Cup, says not a everyday cultist. Although, South Africa lost the toss in the World Cup final, and they won. Although, of course, a bit different, isn't it? You're choosing what way you're going rather than whether or not you're holding your bat for the first 50 overs or not. I just dropped something. I think it was a golf marker. And I've just found it because I just stood on it, and then now I've just remembered that I had a bit of a dodgy muscle in my abdominal. And we got a gifted membership from Robert. And there's thank you very much, mate. Greatly appreciated. I've actually learnt that I might have to become wicketkeeper for my team, which is something that I have not done since I was about 12. So that'll be fun. Only half time in this contest. It's been relatively even between these two sides, I would say. Like Benetton, they've had their moments. They are still in the lead by 3 points. I think that this game could easily go either way, though. And neither side will want to rest on what they've been able to do throughout their first half. And also, thank you, sir. Says Grant there. Did receive the membership. Go here. I'm just having a quick look. Okay, so the Stormers are still underdogs at the moment. $2.20 compared to $1.77 of Benetton. A few other games just about to take place, and that is the French Top 14. 4 games, all happening back to back to back, or actually all happening simultaneously, which will be interesting to see how those ones go. We'll go like that, and like that. There we go. I think. Have I done that right? I think so. There we go. The tab is back, and the players, I believe, are almost back out onto the field for the second 40 minutes of this contest. Now, we've seen some rough kicking from Jean-Luc Duplessis throughout that first half. I know that he will not be happy with missing all of the kicks that he has attempted thus far in the match, but we saw 2 tries being scored by the Stormers wicketkeeper better than falling asleep in the outfield, more action, says Nazi Williams. Very true, and I always work on the theory that I can't catch the ball in the outfield, so I might as well have some big gloves on to try and help me. We have got there, Hamish, have you heard of the talk of the the Club Rugby World Cup? I have. I think the earliest that they said that they can make it take place is about 2025, if not later. So, I mean, I'm optimistic, but I just don't know whether or not they're going to be able to get it working with a schedule that suits all the sides around the world. I got there, no problem, says Robert. And there as well. But now the second half about to get underway. The Stormers will be going from left to right here. Treviso, Benetton doing very nicely indeed. And it's a big question how aggressive will they go in the early stages of the second half. I think they'll just try and wear down the Stormers. Probably going to get a little bit more slippery as we get towards evening. Wicketkeeper is the hardest position on the field, says Grant. If you'd seen my bowling, Grant, today, you would disagree. You'd say that bowling is the hardest one. But, you know, I don't think wicketkeepers really have an easy job, to be honest. Like, for one, even just going up and down that many times can be pretty brutal on the hamstrings. But then also, you've got to watch every single ball. You can't just sleep. Now, nice pass on the outside to Lillian Zass. Now, he's got that ball back available for the Stormers, who look to be aggressive early on. And I really wouldn't mind seeing Crusaders versus La Rochelle game, or Leinster versus the Chiefs. I know that we get to see Crusaders Munster taking place. When is that game? I thought that was going to be in November, to be honest. Has anyone got that information? When is Crusaders versus Munster? Do let me know. We aren't going to see your bowling. That's the GoPro, aren't we? Oh, we are going to see your bowling. That's on the GoPro. Yeah, some of it. Probably not all of it, because I will have to cut out some of the deliveries, just because some of them are just stock standard. Not much happening with them. As the sun shining down south. It's currently 5 a.m, but we haven't got any sun as of yet. But I think by the time I'm going to bed, hopefully we'll have a little bit. I think it's supposed to be quite a nice day. I was watching some soccer, mate. What have I missed so far? So, 2 tries have been scored by the Stormers, both unsuccessfully converted. Benetton have applied the pressure, managed to get themselves a last-minute drop kick in that first half to give them the lead at half-time. Seeing some good aggressive attacking play early on from the Stormers here in this half. They know that if there's ever a time to get a bonus point, it is going to be this game here. And an away game is massive too. A rolling maul for Benetton though. They are currently 30 metres out from their own line. Still slowly marching forward. Did you just call Lionel Zus Lillian? Yes. Yeah, Lillian. Is it not Leolin or Leolin Zus? I said it wrong. It's not Lionel, it's Lillian. Or Leo. Now I can't remember how I say it. Lillian. Also, we have there, you have to hide your mystery deliveries, Hamish. Well, my mystery delivery at the moment is the double bouncer, but sadly, you're not allowed to bowl that. Now going off to the right-hand side for the Stormers. Ivan Ruiz. Low tackle made on him. Now Duplessis. Across to Ruan now. Off to the left-hand side. What a Calant sling and pass, but it has drifted forward, they've said. Now it is going to be a scrum feed for Benetton once more. I see you yawning. You certainly need some sleep. As Leolin says, not your everyday cultist. You see, I completely forgot how to say it when I was told it was Lionel. Trying to work out what the crowd are chanting, and I don't know what it is. I'm trying to work out if it was English or not. I don't think it was, which, I mean, would make sense, seeing as we are in Italy for this contest. Probably Italian. I think we are just, yeah, we're going to see that shot on Duplessis. So New Zealand versus India is confirmed. It certainly is. And they're going to be playing on Wednesday, the 15th of November. He just runs straight past the player. I think this is going to be a penalty in favour of the Stormers. No, in fact, it is going to stay as the scrum for Benetton here. Just said the timing wasn't too bad, but it was just to watch his arms, I think was the comment from the referee. And also we have got there, how can we expect you to be able to pronounce every player's name hard enough to remember them all? Says not your everyday cultist. Yeah, although of course we want to try and make sure we're getting as many of them right as we physically can. That sneeze came out of nowhere. And South Africa would rather play New Zealand than India, says Albert. You know, I guess with the case of if they play India, then they can get redemption, can't they? But if they want a game that could be a lot easier, definitely if New Zealand gift them a batting first, then they'll probably want the Kiwis as the slightly easier option for them. Now going off to the right-hand side of Dogwu. Yeah, it would be more of a statement to beat India in India for a World Cup final. The 3rd of February. Says Ockert for when that game is taking place. Okay, so we've still got a little way away. How many hours are you going to sleep after this chat? Probably like 5, I would say. Somewhere around there, because then we will be getting up watching the Sevens that is taking place in the near future. Big shot coming in on Alistair Vermaak. Even though he was actually defending, he was just joining the breakdown. Got smashed backwards. Ivan Ruiz tries to get his hands on the ball, and he's been able to do just that. The penalty going to the Stormers, number 8. And they've won themselves the penalty. Hang on, the TMO's jumping in. I think the TMO's asking for a neck roll. Is he? Is that what he's saying? Maybe. Either way, we heard a little bit of the TMO. I'm not too knowledgeable on cricket. What do you think? Is the reason the Proteas can't chase well? Is it pressure? It's a very good question. I honestly think that it's a tricky question to answer because sometimes when they have batted second, they've shown that they're very strong. But yeah, I don't know whether or not it's just the scoreboard pressure. When they bat first, maybe it's just a little bit less, I guess, in terms of having a run rate that they know that they want to try and get to, but rather than that, they end up, when they're chasing, they know how far behind they're getting, if that makes sense, so they feel like they have to be more aggressive. We have got there, without the box, the Stormers are looking soft. Italians are going to roll them. Says Alberton, currently on attack here, the Stormers. Only sitting 10 metres out from the line. Herschel Janchis goes across to Ruben van Heeren. Now 3 metres out. Nice run from Ivan Ruiz. And they're very close here for the Stormers. I think they must have gotten angry since you made that comment, Albert, and they are looking very close now. Advantage for the offside. Going to be left alone by Smith. Lisa for Janchis, who goes across. One more out wide, and Cornel Skossen does manage to score the try. Just like that. I don't know, Evan, please, not another yellow card. Says, no everyday cultures, but nice work from, was Cornel Skossen out on the wing. That was the 3rd try. Nice bit of work. Just backline movement. And good hands from Ben Loader. He does get the try assist. I don't think there was really too much more Benetton could do there when that ball started shifting out wide. Looking at the numbers that the Stormers had, Benetton just, they didn't quite read it right. And nice, no problems with the Stormers getting on here. Here's Albert. Now it's going to be Jean-Luc Duplessis lining up another kick. Scudder into Benny, taken off the field. That is for Joseph De Weber. He's been struggling with his line-outs lately once again, sadly, because he has had some good ones along the way, but every once in a while they just go sideways. Okay, 4 and 6 green, both being subs, so that is going to be Sebastian Negri as well as Nicolo Canoni, so 2 of the more experienced players in that forward back now getting taken off. And that kick has now gone over for the Stormers fly half. Jean-Luc Duplessis, he needed that one for confidence. And Albert, please say something bad about the Stormers again so we can score again. See, not everyday cultures. And also we got there the Stormers from JP. And now 4 points difference between these two sides. There is still plenty on the line. Stormers 1 try away from that bonus point. For Benetton, they have only scored the 1 try, but a win here would be absolutely massive in terms of their season. At the moment, Benetton, they are $2.35 underdogs compared to the Stormers, who find themselves as $1.62 favourites. I want to say that's one of the first times we've actually seen the Stormers as favourites throughout this game. And a nice tackle made inside of the Stormers 22 there, pushing the Benetton player into touch. Oh, there's going to be a line out for the away side. And also Ruiz is the weakest link. Says Albert, okay, so he has to score the next try pretty much, if the system is correct. Although, to be fair, they are just out from their own try line, so they might have to do a bit of work first, of course. Herschel Janchis, driven backwards beautifully by Benetton, now only a couple metres, if not maybe less than a metre from their own line. Driving a run from De Weber. Stormers trapped. Ruiz is going to score. Says a not everyday cultist. Yankees. Ball back to Duplessis. Does get it into touch. That's like 5 meters out from the line. Okay, Jean-Luc Duplessis is having a mental breakdown. He was just yelling at the grass, and I think that he's very stressed, which is where you've got to look at that and go, maybe Clayton Blomakis, it's not a straight throw from Benetton, that's hurt them once more. But this is one of those points that I think they have to look at and go, Blomakis now needs to be injected into the side. If Rui scores, I want to see Albert here every Saturday when we play come rain, snow, whatever. And also we've got their Lol says Nazi Williams. As the Fenberg guy playing as either 10 or 12. He is not, no. Not for this game. Closest to that in terms of midfield is Malakai Fekitoa, which of course is not who you're talking about, but he is a player we've hardly seen throughout this game. I've cheated Lions fans at any South African team I'll support against other countries, says Albert. And Umezulu isn't playing today, says not your everyday cultist. Yes, sadly he has left or been left out of the side completely. Going with the 6-2 off the bench as well meant there was one less space. Stress looking at the grass. Crickets, says Nazi Williams. We have got another scrum reset here. 51 minutes through. Still 29 minutes remaining and still quite a few games left of the URC today, ladies and gentlemen. There is Scarlets taking on the Lions. There is also going to be later on Edinburgh. They have got themselves a matchup going head-to-head with Connacht. And then I believe there is also a match between the Dragons and Leinster tomorrow. And then there's another one taking place in the near future, who I can't quite remember who's playing. Yes, Albert, we need you to fuel our boys. He's not everyday cultist. That is the penalty now. Quick tap taken by Herschel Yankees. Deciding to use a little bit of quick thinking, but will it backfire? I've moved up to 22 metres out from the line. They pretty much have to attack from here with the way that the Stormers quick tap that one. Rather than going for a kick in behind, they do need to keep going. I'm upset the Bulls are doing well. Says Albert, you're currently sitting top of the table now. It's kicked in behind from Watercalant. So pretty much that chance of a penalty they've given away. And relieve that pressure. Now trying to jump up for that one. It was the probably smallest player on the field, I would almost say. But he has been one of the most effective. We've got the TMO getting back involved, giving the advantage now in favour of Benetton. 42 metres out from the line. Morisi going across. In fact, sorry, it was Garbisi. That's going to be beautifully taken, but he gets driven out. And they will go back for the original penalty. Albert the Bulls have basically had the easiest possible start. So he's not everyday cultist. See, the TMO is constantly talking at the moment in terms of he's seeing different things. Looks like it is going to be the end of the day for Reno Smith. I think that's actually strategic. They brought on Jacob Umaga, but I believe the reason that they've done that is because of that height. I don't know whether or not under the high ball, Rhino Smith, unfortunately, as well as he's played, will be able to handle those kicks from the Stormers. And yep, but away wins are wins. And standout players thus far, I would say for Benetton, honestly, I'd say Rhino Smith, other than the fact that he didn't quite get up high enough for that crossfield try that they were able to score. Forward pack wise, I mean, Nicolo Canoni's probably been one of the busier players. And then for the Stormers, actually, no, I don't know for the Stormers. Zuss hasn't been bad. And Ben Loader looks like he's still got a lot of talent there. Jacob Umaga. Now there's a name. And how many Kiwis and Bogans play in the URC? So there's Chronic Underachiever. There's a few. I mean, no, we can't call Malakai Fekitoa a Kiwi anymore, can we? He plays for Tonga. So I guess Jacob Umaga, I believe he counts as a New Zealander to a stretch. He is playing in this contest, actually playing for the opposite side of Malakai Fekitoa. Fun fact, those two used to be teammates at the Wasps till the Wasps went under Now it's nice pass out the back line here. Zanon tries to go over the top of Skossen. And Evan Ruiz. And there as well, Sir Charmaine. Yeah, he's had a relatively solid game. Evan Ruiz. Now back across to the right. Chance here for the Stormers to take a few metres off Benetton. I name my cat after Tana Umanga. Says Tade. And also we've got there, how has Haaland been playing? He's had some good moments, but he's also still had some shaky moments at the back. His defence, when they were able to score the try, Benetton, it was pretty rough. Jacob Umanga Jensen was a baller at the Wasp, says Danston Daniels, but still Benetton have got themselves the possession. Moving this one to the right now. Skip pass from Jacob Umanga. Starts to open up the space. This time Kanoni makes his way to 25 metres from the line. Quick hands. Nice work here from Benetton. The draw and pass, and they'll get themselves the try. The replacement. Number 20, Alessandro Ezekor, I believe it is, has scored that try. How did I remember that name? I don't think they've even shown it yet either. That was just, yeah, there it is. Alessandro Ezekor has scored the try, number 20. In this contest. Yeah, good stuff. To be fair, just good try through the hands. Deciding to back themselves to score it. It was a good drawing run from Albanoz, lured in 2 defenders. And then closing out the deal, the big man off the bench. Now Benetton have got themselves the lead back, ladies and gents. What does that do to the odds? That now puts the Stormers as underdogs. This game's been a seesaw of emotions and also a seesaw of the betting odds. But there is still 23 minutes remaining. You know which country has the coolest surnames? The Georgians. Ninashvili, Agigashvili, Abzangadze, and Tapludzadze. I did struggle with some of the Georgian names throughout the Rugby World Cup. I'll be honest, some of them didn't quite roll off the tongue the way we would have liked, but Jacob Umanga has been able to get that kick over, adds the extra 2, and now makes the score 20 points to 17 in favour of Benetton. I do not doubt that the Stormers have got the ability of scoring that last try to get them the bonus point, though. So it's whether or not Benetton can keep on extending their lead. Warwick Haaland is actually outnumbered on the outside. Found himself in a little bit of a 2-on-1 and missed his 1-on-1 tackle, which did not help him. Kicked off high, and it is a good one there from Duplessis. And Stormers need to get a 2-score lead now. So he's not your everyday cultist yet. I think that it's going to be very important for them throughout this last 23 minutes that they are clinical when they get the chance. They at least want 1 point from this game. They at least really want 2. If you're going to lose it, you've got to be within 7 and you've got to have scored the 4 tries to get that extra bonus point. Just because of how crucial the points near the end of the competition will be. There'll be certain games that teams do look at going, could we have done more? Should we have done better? Looks like the bench is going to be active here for the Stormers. I saw Brock Harris making his way onto the field. Joseph Weber, of course, already has made his way out there. I think they also... Did they bring on Nabakaba? I don't think so yet. They've also got Marabe as another option there. Now going across. In fact, that might be Nabakaba. Yes, it is. Now going to the left, Joseph Weber with the knock on. And now he's held a player down. There's a little bit of afters here, and that is something that they cannot afford to do. Trying to work out exactly. So he got tackled. The player didn't realise he didn't have the ball. 9 green offside. Is that what we've just heard? Oh no, it's going to be the sub in fact. But to be honest, for the Stormers standard from last season, etc., losing to Benetton is unacceptable. Says not your everyday cultist. And also I know Weber says not your everyday cultist. Hit the subscribe button and hit the like button. Says Robert, anyone who is new to the channel, be sure to hit that subscribe button. We are back for a majority of the URC. We did have a little bit of a quieter weekend this one, but next week we should be back into it. It's only because we've had the sevens that we have been covering for Oceania, and of course, got the sevens taking place in about 13 hours time or somewhere around there is the first live stream for that sevens comp. So be sure to check that out. One of the big games that we do get to see is actually New Zealand versus Fiji, and that is always a treat when those two sides go head to head. The ball being fed in for Benetton, and I've got the penalty. That was once again the TMO. Unless, of course, that is the touch judge as well that we can hear. That would make more sense, but I don't think they normally have the touch judge as something that you can hear throughout the game. But currently 60.5 minutes down in this contest. Jacob Umunga now to kick this one towards the touchline. Has gone out now. Anyone's game for the taking as well. It's going to be extremely important that they are able to get it right. I think there's a couple more changes being made here. I collect the Mlomikis now. And I don't like this over the top TMO interference. So I'm hoping it's the touch judges we can hear. Just because, like, normally the only time you can hear a voice, it is a TMO, but I want to say they've got some sort of mic set up on the touch judges, because we're hearing who's the subs that are coming on and off as well. So, yeah, hopefully it's not all TMO, because if it is, then it's a ridiculous amount. What is happening now, mate, says Danson? Well, currently Benetton, they were making their subs, and now they are back on attack, sitting 22 metres out, and they've given away the penalty. Entry through the side. I hope this will be Caleb Clark's season. Says Chronic underachiever. Well, the good news is he can't go any worse than he has been going. So that is one bonus for Caleb Clark. But to be honest, he is due for a big one. And yeah, who knows, maybe this season could be the one that he has. Clayton Blumikis now gets that one into touch. Now he is actually replacing Jean-Luc Duplessis, who has a bit of a rough game, to say the least. Unfortunately, he did miss quite a few of his kicks. Did get the last one over, though. So I think he was sitting 1 from 3. If I am correct there, but now Joseph Weber, another line-out throw. Yanchis gives him the call. And they have gone into Ruben van Heeren. Now they've probably done well to bring him down as straight as they did. And Hamish, how about the merch to Christmas? Or how about the merch to... Oh, for the Kiwi Lads Christmas. Well, we could actually look at a Kiwi Lads Christmas one of some sort, perhaps. Anyone who does want to check out the merch shop, of course, it is the pinned comment there in the chat, so be sure to give it a look if you do want to check it out. But yeah, we'll have to bring out some sort of thing for Christmas, I think, seeing as we are so close. Caleb Clark had a big season in 2022. To be honest, really impressed me, especially in the 2 games against the Springboks. It was really good there, and not a penalty, high shot on Nell, says Danston. Now put back into the pocket, kicked high from Jacob Umunga. Nicely taken again under the high ball. That was actually Skorson. Last time I remember, I think he was at either La Rochelle or Northampton Saints. I think there's 2 Skorson brothers, if I'm correct. But I told someone I was going to pick up a trade me item 6:30 a.m. I want to go bloody sleep after this, says Nazi Williams. Well, so you still got another hour, don't you? You might be awake if you're lucky. But there is another game taking place relatively quickly after this one. I think at about 6:15. So you could keep an eye on that one perhaps while you wait for your item to be ready. Benetton putting together some good phases. This is about maybe 7 or so in a row. And now they look for the kick up high from inside of their own half. Territory-wise, I think that the Stormers have done a little bit better. Looks like a knock-on maybe from Blomikis. Yes, it was. Trying to get up for the high ball and doesn't quite get it. And now they're kicking behind. Just as I mentioned about the territory game being played against Benetton, they have just got themselves the 50-22. And now managing to retain that ball 20 metres out from the try line. This is another big chance for the home side to build momentum, and a try here, even if it's not converted, it might almost be enough. The 50-22, Dweba wanted the ball. He was like, I can throw it for them if you like. Wasn't allowed to, though. They're just showing Federico Ruzzi he might be an extremely crucial part of this line out here. Throwing that one in, nicely claimed at the front by the most recent try scorer for Benetton. Our ball rolls out the back. We can hear the Stormers. They are asking for some sort of penalty in their favour. The turnover is good, though. Do you see that Paul de Vet has made his way onto the field? That is for Herschel Yankees, who has now been taken off. But a great turnover to get there for the Stormers inside of their own 22. And Paul de Vet now rolls the ball back. We need to defend this. See, he's not your everyday cultist, and they have done just that. I think it was Joseph Dweba, in fact, who managed to get over the ball and get that turnover. That is going to be well cleared by de Vet. That's their Paul de Vet replacing Yankees. I think they've still got 2 more changes here that they can make the Stormers. I haven't seen Kiki Morabi yet. I'm not sure if there's anyone else, though. Maybe the tight head prop is the only other change, because I see Johan Nedling Fouché is still out there on the field. Skip pass from Benetton now. Out on the wing, Odogwu tried to find the offload, but does decide to hang on to it. Instead, is dragged down just out from the 22-metre line. Nice little pop pass up here. Benetton attack looking strong throughout the second half. Offloaded back from, I think it was the replacement hooker, and that's actually a knock-on, is it? Yes, it is. In fact, it's going to be a penalty instead, going the way of the Stormers. It's Malakai Fekitoa was the man penalised. Ruan Nel, though. Was that a knock-on from Ruan Nel? I think it was. That is going to be going into touch. Three Black, I think, is the next sub that has been made. And also Dweba, loose play, is really good, but line throwing and decision making not at test level. So here's Albert. But now Mazibuko. Okay, Joseph Dweba is yelling at people. I'm not sure what he is yelling, but he was fired up there, hoping to get this line out straight. Can he do just that? It's stolen by Benetton. And that must be frustrating to watch as a hooker. Also as a spectator, seeing that one taken away from the Stormers when they had the momentum. Now fire back across from Clayton Blomekis to Warakaland, who sends it back to Blomekis. Goes straight up the middle. He's still got Haaland with him. And he manages to find the pass. 22 metres out, but he just drops the ball and throws it backwards, hoping that it would sit up for someone, but instead it's Benetton who get that ball back once more. I think they'll be pretty disappointed with that, the Stormers. That was their chance to be able to attack Andy Uden now. Waiting for the perfect time to be able to clear this ball. Now with 13 minutes remaining on the clock. Stormers still only down by 3, though. Anything can happen in this URC competition. We've seen some extremely close games go down to the wire. We've even seen draws. Could there be another one on the cards? Looked like there was going to be the turnover for Benetton, but they haven't quite been able to secure it. Will be interesting seeing bot players playing in France after the World Cup. Another penalty goes the way of the Stormers. Right now they do actually have the opportunity to make it 20 points to 20 if they want it. I believe Namakaba, the man who did win that penalty, Blomekis, will kick for the corner. And I believe the reasoning behind that is not so much looking at this game, but looking at the future in the URC. Because if they score themselves a try now, that actually gets them the bonus point no matter what the result is in this matchup. Sounds like there's some sort of injury at the moment. Lorenzo Canoni, actually the man who is down currently. Hopefully nothing too serious. Toa Halafihi make his way on. South Africa players in France are looking over their shoulders. Says Albert. But like that. Like that. But now the Stormers, it's a little bit further out than they would have liked it to be. But Kanoni has been able to take that one. And Joseph Dweba, that is 2 lineouts in a row that have gone wrong for the Stormers in a time that it matters most. It is kicked downfield. Put it into touch. Blomikis takes it and will not go quickly. Now Dweba, a player who at the moment will not be enjoying the fact that they're having lineouts back to back to back. Definitely not when you've had your last 2 stolen. Coach looking nervous here, John Dobson. And on his head. Can Dweba get it right? This time he does. Actually not contested by Benetton that time. Dweba joins the back of the rolling maul as it starts to move towards the 22. Nice step from the big man. He's dropped it again, unfortunately, and that is just another handling error you cannot afford to have if you are the Stormers. What a Calant, though, from the kick. Downfield from Benetton, opens up the space for Ruanel, goes on the inside. Paul DeVette smashed in that tackle. Ball bounces out the side. Odogwu went to pick it up, but it is picked up even better by Lilian Zas. Another penalty advantage in favour of the Stormers. What a Calant looks for the cross kick. Finds Scorson, who kicks it, or actually slaps it back. And now, like I said, Weber says Albert, but now 10 minutes remaining, but they have got another chance at 3 points if they want to hear the Stormers. But do they? Or do they want to go for that corner once more and trust Joseph Weber's line out that has gone wrong 3 times in a row here? And unfortunately, 1 or 2 times you can consider unlucky. When you get to that 3 or 4 mark, you start to wonder, is it just not quite going to be his day once again? It was a great pickup from Lilian Zas. It was either going to be his ball or a Dogwoo's. In this case, it did bounce in favour of Lilian Zas. Okay, they've got the penalty straight out in front here for the Stormers. This could be an easy 3-pointer to put them back to equal, but instead they are once again looking to kick this one for the corner. So you have to, I guess you have to credit the fact that they are willing to take on that risk rather than taking the easy 3, getting into a drawn scenario. Maybe they end up winning another positional penalty some stage in the last 10 minutes, but they don't want to take that risk. They would rather have the points on the board, say thanks very much for coming. We are now walking away with the victory and the bonus point. That would be 5 points if the Stormers can pull this off. Be absolutely massive for them here. I do see that they are still considered underdogs, but at this point, anything could happen for the final moments. That is a really bad wedgie that one of the players for the Stormers is receiving from Benetton. Going to need some baby powder for that one. But now the rolling maul has almost been told to use it. But Joseph Dweba, it's still marching that little bit more here. They have been told to go. Dweba's just... Did Joseph Dweba just try and score a try on the 5-metre line? Or did he just fall over? I swear that looked like he was almost celebrating scoring for 5 metres out from the line. Which I mean, fair play, but it's just not a try. Paul DeVette going off to the left-hand side. They have got a classy backline here, the Stormers. I'd love to see it get out to Lilian Zas. I feel like one-on-one up against Benetton, he could do some real damage. Paul DeVette, he is slowly shifting it out to that left-hand side, but first of all, it will be a run for Ivan Ruiz, who is driven backwards, and that challenge, DeVette goes across to Brock Harris, experienced veteran of the Stormers outfit. Paul DeVette goes to Clayton Blumikis with his quick stepping feet. Right on attack at the moment. Paul DeVette, Ivan Ruiz makes the mistake. Referee says it goes backwards though, and the little pop pass up to Watakalunt. Tries to go for the cross kick. I don't know why they're risking so much here. Dogwu kicks it downfield. Lilian Zas now has to pick it up from the halfway line. Blumikis gets the pass away to Ruanel. Referee has to get out of his way. Now popped up here for Watakalunt again. They are back inside of their own half, all from that little chip kick attempted, rather than putting it through their hands. Now Brock Harris would have loved a little bit more speed there, of course. Stormers now even bigger underdogs in this case due to the fact that they lost so many meters in that last play. But it is not over here. Malakai Fiki Toa getting sacked down by Ruben van Heerden. Now nice quick hands. What a Calant. Gets it off to Skorson. Dragged down again. 74 minutes through. Still available for the Stormers. But as time wears on, their chances start to dwindle. But there is still a chance up until then. Stolen by Benetton. Big kick downfield off the intercept. And now inside of their 22 here, the Stormers, they have the decision to make. They've decided to try and run it. And they have just managed to keep it, the Stormers. Evan Ruiz, chopped out from underneath. Here comes Ruben van Heerden. Gets his offload away to Musibuko. And that ball lost in the breakdown. Loose carry from the Stormers. Out wide now. We haven't seen a huge amount of him, but it's Ignacio Mendy, I should say. And Weber and Calant, decision making just hasn't quite been up to par, unfortunately, throughout the second half. Like, what a Calant. He didn't do too much wrong in the first half. Yes, he had a couple moments where maybe he made the wrong choice, but the second half and the moments where it's mattered is where he's really made those clinical errors that have been hurting his side. Now currently 35 metres out from the line, Benetton still attacking here. And the penalty goes their way. Right, now they have the big decision. Do they take 3 to make it that the Stormers need a converted try to be able to win this game? I believe that will be their best option here. Rather than going for anything silly, take the 3 points. And then you at least give yourself that little bit more breathing space. But these Stormers, not where they want to be at this stage of the match. They will need a converted try if this kick does go over from Benetton to be able to walk away with the win. Evening, Hamish. Just seeing that you're back on the URC Rugby. Another huge thanks for bringing us so much rugby, says Josh Pike. No worries at all. We are going to be back for the URC, of course, next week alongside the Oceania Sevens tomorrow or later on today, New Zealand time. And it is going to be Fiji versus New Zealand in one of the big matches. Samoa versus Papua New Guinea. That will determine who makes their way through to the next stage and the qualification. In fact, that will confirm Olympic qualification in the sevens. But winning the penalty there, Benetton now with the chance to make it 6 point. Oh, okay. My apologies. They've kicked for the corner. Benetton. They are risking it for the biscuit in this case. They are hoping to score the try, Hamish, the go-to guy even for South Africans. Says Albert there. 5 metres out from the line. Bernasconi. Chance for him here. My Sharks are digging a huge hole for themselves. Guess we just need to be patient. Says Josh Pott. Yeah, I feel like it will eventually start working for the Sharks. It's always tough near the start of the season to find that chemistry, find that momentum that they are after. This is a very important line-out throw because they have turned down the 3 points, we need to remember. And instead now, looking to score the try to be able to get themselves a massive boost. Will the scoreboard be working today like it is now? It will not, no. For all the Oceania games, they do not have an updating scoreboard. Sadly, that is a knock-on. In the midfield, I believe that will be... Who was that? It was actually... I've forgotten his name now. It was their fly half. The Argentine Albanos is who it was. But they've still got another penalty. This one even closer. Only 10 metres out. To check the score and say, yo, not looking good here. Says cool story, bro. Yeah, if Benetton are able to score themselves a try now, it is game over for the Stormers. And it is another loss, 2 in a row on their resume. Now, we were talking about a side that were undefeated up until that game up against Munster in last year's URC. I was hoping that the return of Plum as coach would give us a bit more of a lift, says Josh Pike. Although it will take a little bit of time, of course, for him to be able to find that rhythm under the Sharks. Here we go. 3.5 minutes remaining, ladies and gents. 5 metres from the line. Benetton retain their rolling maul. Now setting up at the back, I believe Andy Uren joining in, joining out. The ball has gone down. Been well defended here by the Stormers at this point. The ball is available for Benetton once more. It's going to be extremely tough for the Stormers to be able to get out of this position on the field. Was there a New Zealand club that Plumtree is from? Was he at the... No, he wasn't at the Blues, was he? He was at one of them, though, I believe. I could be wrong. As African teams are rusty and away tours difficult to start the season, the ball's got away with soft winds. See, here's Albert, but still only 5 metres out from the line. Benetton looking to wear down this clock. The Stormers looking to get themselves the turnover or the penalty that then allows them momentum to start building their own phases. And the Hurricanes, says Joss, for where he was. Benetton up to maybe about 7 or 8 phases. Almost stolen for the Stormers in the breakdown, but they have to wait patiently for another chance at this ball. 2 minutes remaining now. The clock's just getting a little bit too thin for the Stormers side. I believe at this point, we will more than likely see Benetton just look to close out this game without too many errors. They're saying, playing for the penalty here, hoping that they receive one right near the end of the game. Still 1 minute and a half though. Now they go for the chip and wine. I think that was the wrong decision. Mark taken by Warwick Callant. Now. Oh, it's charged down, although it wasn't actually purposely charged down. Warwick Callant has just kicked that ball straight into a Benetton player's head, which has then forced them back inside of their own in-goal area. It becomes a goal line dropout because it hit the player in the face. But, yeah, goal line dropout. 1 minute remaining in this contest. Warwick Callant once again making the wrong decision. Player of the match, they have given it to Marco Zanon, the number 12 for Benetton. He's had a very solid game, a lot of running meters. And went from a win plus a potential bonus point to now facing a loss. Says Chronic. And you have to wonder, should the Stormers have taken those 3-pointers? Although they had that ball for half a second there in the ground. It's an advantage for Green for knock on. So Benetton can just close out a couple more phases and then say, yep, the scrum will go back for it, and that would be the end of the game. And ouch, says Robert there. Rush defense from Ivan Ruiz. Trying to get in there and get that turnover. 18 seconds remaining now. Benetton still in the lead in this contest. The advantage, I want to say the referee just said advantage over. It's put back into the pocket. They will stall. The time's not up. Okay, it is up. The time on the screen was wrong, ladies and gents. I thought he kicked it into touch with 7 seconds remaining. And I was about to say there might be a massive, massive mistake. But Benetton win themselves this game 20 points to 17. And like they've said, they've held the champions to a draw, which was Munster. They have beaten the DHL Stormers, the other side who made it through to the final. The world is the oyster of Benetton at the moment in this URC competition. That's why Hallant and Weber wasn't in the Box World Cup squad. Says Albert there, and ouch, says Robert. Yeah, that was a bit of an intense finish for these two sides. Warwick Callant going for that kick in behind and ends up smacking it straight into the face of the Benetton player. Lillian Zas having a good chat there with Odogwu. Two men who are very dangerous when they're out on the wing. It'll be interesting to see how this game goes from here, or how these seasons go from here for these two sides. That's disappointing, says Grant. Yeah, I'm sure my mum will be gutted when she does wake up from her sleep. And thanks, Amish. Great commentary, says Start. Thank you very much, mate. Hugely appreciated. Players all shaking hands after the match. But the Stormers, that is 2 losses in a row. And that is certainly not the way that they wanted their season to start. With Benetton getting themselves the victory there, they will get 4 points, which will then push them up in the table. Currently, they were sitting 9th. That will actually put them right up to 3rd as it currently sits in the table. Of course, there are a few more games that do have to take place before the end of the weekend, including 3 more today. But by the end, Benetton, they could find themselves in that top, probably 6, I would say, is their best bet by the end of the round. But nonetheless, I do thank you all very much for tuning in, ladies and gentlemen. It has been hugely appreciated, you all being here. Thanks so much, says Albert. And Halant should have chosen soccer, says Chronic. Oh, I think there's also the argument the Stormers should have chosen the 3 points twice. But twice they went for the corner, and twice they weren't able to get it right. We have got there Grant, go play on the field and start pissing, says Ricardo. Again, poor discipline and no line out. I mean, Grant's just being honest, Ricardo. They didn't have a great line out accuracy throughout that second half, and alongside that, they did struggle with their discipline, giving away a lot more penalties than the Benetton side. So he is right, but I'm not sure why he want to use the bathroom on the field. Interesting choice. The man of the match is Marco Zanon. Had a very good game. And also very good there, tied of this BS team. I'm supporting the Bulls. Well, at the moment, the Bulls are sitting number 1, so they're doing pretty decently at the moment. And we have good there. Nah, you got to have a good fight, says Ta there as well. But nonetheless, I do thank you all very much for tuning in. If you did enjoy, if you all leave a like and subscribe, we are going to be back for plenty more of the URC. Sadly, that is the last game we are covering of this weekend, though. But we have got plenty more coming next weekend. We've got the Oceania Sevens later on today, where Fiji play New Zealand, as well as a couple other matches. Samoa versus Papua New Guinea is another one that is taking place. But thank you all very much for tuning in. Like I mentioned, be sure to hit that subscribe button. Be sure to check out the Kiwi Lads merch store as well, which is that link. And how does this ref let the player kick out the ball 10 seconds left? Because the clock on screen was wrong. So the official watch of the referee is the one that they go off, and his watch was that little bit closer to the 80 minutes. So it wasn't so much the referee's fault, because he was just basing it off his watch. It was just the coverage. They had the wrong time up on the screen in that case. Nonetheless, thank you all very much for tuning in. I will see you all for the next one.